Hi everybody, my name is Tiffany, aka the Black Rose. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about Capricorn's love language, how they flirt with people, like their flirting style, and how they are in the bedroom. And also like address the difference between Capricorn men and Capricorn women in terms of flirting and their love style and love language. So first of all, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to being with a Capricorn, like being together in a relationship, we have to get to know you first and feel comfortable with you. We are a slow and steady moving sign. We don't like to just jump into things. We like to see if you're actually a good match for us, if you're actually like compatible with us, because we are more of like a steady climber. We're a bit cautious. Sometimes we're like aloof. We're a bit detached emotionally at first with people. And that doesn't mean that we don't like human interaction. We don't like relationships. We definitely love people. We love interacting with people. And when we're around people, we will support them. We will be there for them. But the thing is, we are looking sometimes at the long term. We are looking to see, if we gel well with each other, because as an earth sign, we like balance, harmony. We like things to be a bit stable sometimes. We like things to kind of be in a certain way. So if we're not feeling you, we're obviously not gonna go down the road of flirting with someone, or like flirting with a person that might be interested in us. Like if we don't see you as a potential partner, if we don't gel well with each other, we're not gonna like get into the whole flirting. We're not gonna get into the whole bedroom talk and all this. We're just gonna keep you at a distance, right? So this is mainly for people that are already in a relationship with a Capricorn, or want to know what it's like, if a Capricorn likes them or could potentially like them, or who just want to know like what we're like in the bedroom, if you're really curious about that. But yeah, we come across as more reserved, and we definitely are at first, but that's just like sometimes how we display ourselves. That isn't necessarily how we feel on the inside. Like, yeah, so it takes us some time to kind of let loose a bit and get to know people, just because we're a bit, sometimes we have this thing with like restriction. We're kind of like more self-controlled. We're kind of more focused on what we're doing and focused on our life and our journey and career sometimes. So but that doesn't mean we're not, into human interaction and love and romance and all that. We definitely are. It's just sometimes we place priorities and certain kind of things on more of a pedestal than like love, than like romance, than we place more like things like stability, career, finance, that kind of stuff. We might place more emphasis and importance on those things than love and all that, because sometimes we're kind of like, well, we can always go for love. Like we can always have a relationship with somebody later on down the line. And like I know personally, like I know people that have gotten married when they're really old. Like, maybe it's like their second marriage or third marriage, and they're like getting married, and these people are in their 70s. So I'm like, it's never too late. You don't have to rush into things. And that's the thing, we don't like to rush into things. We're not like fire signs where we have to like rush into everything, like like racing, and we don't feel insecure like about being single. Like we're very self-assured people. We're very confident with ourselves. We like sometimes our own company. We like being by ourselves. We like being with our with a small close-knit group of friends. We don't have to be friends with the whole world to feel a sense of security or stable in life. We can just have fun with a small group of people. And that's the thing with us. We're not very we're not really usually like the life of the party. And that doesn't mean we're not social or antisocial. It just means we're just a bit slightly more reserved. We're slightly more maybe some people might say conservative, but we're not, when we actually get to know a person, when we actually, feel a sort of connection with somebody, when we feel like it's more than just like friendship and all that, we will definitely like make it known to you that we like you. We will be very flirty with you. We're usually, in terms of like flirting, like we're very sensual. We're very like, it's like, we're about like the candles. We're about the roses. We're about like all that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Yeah, I just realized that I had to go out and run some errands and I can't continue filming on the camera. But anyway, so yeah, so sorry if the quality isn't as good, but like I need to run out the door, literally like Saturn and time is waiting, so I have to stop and end this soon. But anyway, in terms of like relationships and kind of flirting with a Capricorn, when it comes to flirting, Capricorn people are more low-key with it. They're more like, they'll take their time with flirting. They'll be very like sensual and subtle with it at first and like test the waters. And we're very like, Capricorns are very mental people, so we'll kind of like do kind of like mental work with people that we like, which might sound messed up, but it's kind of like when we're flirting with you, we'll try to be creative with like what we're saying, like the words we're saying. We'll be creative with like how we act in public. Like if we like you, we'll be like, we'll kind of like play upon your accomplishments, sometimes even your insecurities. Like we don't really have any kind of specific thing, but we will point out things about you and maybe like your style or how you carry yourself, what you've accomplished, like those types of things. We might like tease you a bit, like in a pleasant way. Like we're not very like fiery people where we have to like kind of say things that are very outlandish. Like we'll be tasteful with it, and we'll be like we'll say things that will make you feel good about yourself, that will compliment you, that will make you feel nice and kind of feel more confident, so that way you can kind of reciprocate that energy back to us. The thing with us is like we will pursue people and we will like kind of like flirt back with people that are already displaying that kind of energy to us and that are already like kind of being flirtatious with us, and being kind of just like showing interest in us. Because if you aren't like with it, then we're not going to be like reciprocating back to you. We're going to also be very like I said before, we're very sensual because we're earth signs, so we like the candles, like nice locations and like nice scenery, nice settings. So we might like go for dinner and all this. We might like go for a nice concert, like a jazz concert. And also Capricorns are very mature for their age, so if you're dealing with a mature kind of sign, they're not going to be going to like a nightclub to like impress their lover. Like we're gonna be more old school with it. We're gonna do the candlelit dinners. We're gonna do the nice like concert by the water, or like listen to a nice concert by the water on the waterfront, like with the moon shining, stuff like that. We're very like old school sometimes when it comes to romance. We're very like retro, nostalgic, like stuff like that. We like stuff like that. And even like how we dress sometimes. Like sometimes people tell me, oh, you dress like you're from a different time, just vintage and all that. And not every Capricorn dresses vintage. Not every Capricorn is like into dressing like that. But for myself, I'm definitely I like classic styles, but I switch it up from time to time because the Pisces and water and all that, like sometimes that gives me more of like an artistic flair in terms of fashion and style and all that. But today this look is definitely very like Capricorn, you know. But yeah, so we're like sensual people. We like kind of we like to create like a nice energy and atmosphere around the person at first, and we can be very dominant, you know. We can be very like assertive, and that shouldn't be anything to be afraid of. I mean, like once the other person, like once they're comfortable with that as well, like that kind of energy, and you know, you talk about it at first, you know, because Capricorns, because of Saturn, we can be very dominant, but that doesn't mean like we're always dominant in the bedroom. It depends on the Capricorn. A lot of Capricorns can be assertive and dominant when they want to be, but that doesn't have to be like 24/7. Like they can let their partner, you know, be the dominant one if need be. But I think at certain times a Capricorn would want to be dominant, like in the bedroom, or you know, during love making and all that. They would want to be dominant. But yeah, and since we're like low key, like flirting and all that, you know, that doesn't mean that we're not crazy or anything like that. We're definitely more of a hidden kind of, we have hidden energy in terms of like sexual energy. We're very like you will never know sometimes. Like you have to really kind of get to know us very well if you want to see that side of ourselves, like the darker natures, the darker sides of Capricorns, because that's not something that they just come out and display to the whole world for obvious reasons. But we can definitely, like, Capricorns have their own dark side, and it's not like Scorpio. It's a bit different. But like you can see that, like if you're in a relationship with them, you can definitely see the Capricorn's dark side. If you're close with them and they're like comfortable with you, they might have a lot of like dark humor. I mean, I think Jim Carrey's a Capricorn, and you know, sometimes he can crack really dark jokes. He can talk about some really, like, he's like crazy. Like sometimes like his kind of behavior is really outlandish and all that. But sometimes his humor can be a bit like, you know, much. But a lot of comedians are like that. But you can definitely be, you know, when it comes to like utilizing that dark energy in relationships and in the bedroom, we can be very, you know, like we can catch people off guard. Like they'll never expect it. Like they'll never see it coming, because people think we're so conservative. We're so like controlled and old fashioned. So they assume that we're like very vanilla in the bedroom, but we can be very like dark and scary, like all kinds of crazy, all kinds of freaky in the bedroom. And like that's the thing though, the thing is like we don't really we don't openly talk about this. Like it's not something that we're like proud about or anything. It's not something that we're like we're kind of like we do watch our image and our persona, and we're not gonna like be very like a fire sign and like talk about all the stuff we did. No, we're more private people. So like if we're in a relationship with someone, we just keep it between that person. Like whatever we're doing, like it's just between us, you know. It's just between two of us or whatever. Like, and maybe the Capricorn man might be more into talking about his escapades with women, but like Capricorn women definitely are more, you know, conservative. We're not going to be talking about like who we're dating, not just like in terms of like love making, sex and all that, just who we're dating. Like we're not going to be talking about who we're dating to the whole world. Like no one needs to know that, you know. It's just whatever's between the two of us is like the two of us. Like no one, unless they're like our close friends and family, like we can tell them. But like we're not those types of people that need to post those cute couple pictures and say, hey, I'm dating so and so, and you know, blah blah blah. We might do that once in a while, and we'll be proud of the person that we're dating. We'll we might take like a nice photo and all that, but like it's not our style. Like we're not into the tacky, cheesy stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know, we like more like tasteful things, like more kind of I don't know how to describe it. We like more, just like we're just more old school and classy. Like we just, you know what I'm saying? Like we like things that are just have a bit of edge to them, have a bit of like a dark essence to them, you know. Yeah, so also if you're looking to attract a Capricorn person, in my previous video I kind of talked about that a bit. Like I discussed, you know, what to do, like how to act with them, how to approach them. But if you're interested in like, if you're already like established a connection with a Capricorn and you want to, you know, spice things up and you want to kind of like flirt with them more and all that, just one of the things you should do is maybe like do the mental thing, like kind of impress the Capricorn with your intelligence, like what you know, because we love kind of like, we love debates, we love stimulating conversations, we love like getting into really interesting topics and discussions, and that could that could even like escalate things, you know, further, if you know what I mean. But yeah, so if you do that, you know, that's one way to kind of, like connect with a Capricorn and kind of like get to know them on a deeper level. Like if you make time, you know, take the time to talk to them, get to know them more. You know, we're very steady moving sign. We're very like, we're a bit slow sometimes in terms of like relationship building and all that and getting to know people. So if you're really interested, you know, take the time and sit down with this person, whether it's a Capricorn woman or Capricorn man, you know, make the time for it and conversate with them. Now Capricorn men can be a bit different from Capricorn women in terms of like lovemaking and flirting styles and all of that. Capricorn men a lot of the times will like brag. Some of them brag or boast about how much money they have, or you know, their assets or what they've accomplished, and that's not, I don't think that's anything bad in particular, you know. I think that if a guy is proud of what he's accomplished and done in life, that's okay. Once it's not like, once the conversation isn't like all dominated by that, you know, it's fine to be proud of your accomplishments. Just once the conversation is like, once the conversation has other things that people are discussing, I think that's good too. So he'll do that to kind of impress the woman, you know, so that he can seem like a good provider, or, you know, a good kind of mate to be with. You know, he can take care of the female, he can provide for her, you know. Capricorn men might be like that. Or they might be just like talking about how ambitious they are, what they have planned and all this to kind of impress the girl. But then also a lot of people that a lot of men that have Capricorn in their chart, and a lot of Capricorn men can also have that dark side to them as well, where it's very like, I don't know how to describe it. It's very like that business guy that's a bit mysterious, that's very like, has a lot of like energy and confidence to him, and he's very interesting. He's a bit different, you know. He's like, he might be like CEO on the top of some kind of business and organization, and he's very like you can see the passion in him. You can see how he's so ambitious and has a lot going for him. Like he can be like, that's what I'm describing when I'm describing like a very alpha, strong Capricorn man, you know, who's like into the flirting and all that. Those types of Capricorn men, you know, they will really try to impress the female. They will take her out to nice places. They'll buy her nice things, you know, because Capricorn men can be materialistic, you know. It's an earthly sign, so they might like buy a lot of nice things for the female. They might, you know, take her to nice concerts and whatever she wants, basically. And just make sure, you know, with a Capricorn man, you know, sometimes Capricorn people can put a lot of pressure on themselves to be perfect and all that. you know, if you're a Capricorn man and you're watching, you know, don't try to overdo it. Don't try to overdo it, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you aren't, you know, all that what you say you are, you know, don't like overdo it when you're talking about your accomplishments and all that, because you don't want to give off the wrong impression. Like, it's good to talk about your accomplishments, but you don't want to seem so far away and grandiose to the point where the female cannot connect with you because it's all about you. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen to her as well. And the same thing goes with some Capricorn women. I know a lot of Capricorn women can be so into what they're accomplishing, what they're doing in their career, and that can come across as very aggressive and masculine to men. And so it's good. So some men, you know, if they want to feel like they're dating a female, like dating a woman, they want to see that more feminine side to you. And if you're like a very strong businesswoman or CEO, it's good to tone down the masculinity a bit. And I know that can be difficult because of Saturn, you know, because Saturn can be very masculine and give us that masculine influence and, you know, time and all this kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's good to, but I think it's good to like just kind of downplay it a bit, like that masculine side a bit, just so like they can see that feminine side to you. It doesn't have to be 24/7, but let that feminine side, the more nurturing side come out of it, the more like softer side, feminine, you know, feminine edge. Like, let the man, you know, take control, take charge once in a while, you know. And if you haven't tried it yet, maybe practice doing it. You know, if the guy's like, oh, you're so, you know, you're doing a lot, blah blah blah, and then you wonder why you don't hear back from him. Well, maybe, you know, you're too masculine, you're doing too much, and you're trying to be too assertive and all that. That can sometimes scare guys off, right? But yeah, yeah, so we're very low key with in public, like in terms of flirting. You know, sometimes we don't do a lot of PDA, you know, public displays of affection in public, unless we're very comfortable with that person. And it depends on the Capricorn, of course, like holding hands, kissing a bit in public, and, you know, hugging, stuff like that. But the other stuff is like, we have to be like, it has to be a time like maybe like when we're just alone with the other person, you know what I'm saying? We don't usually like, we're not one of those signs that's like we need to like display to the whole world that like we're sleeping with someone. And you know like, I don't know, I think it's air signs, I'm not sure if it's air signs, but there's these kinds of people where they need to display their kind of romance to everyone. They need to like let everyone know that they're like sleeping with this person, and so whenever they're out and about, they're like doing the most, or like grabbing each other, touching each other. We don't really like that. Like, and if we are, it's just between us and the other person. Like, it's not about like everyone and being in our relationship, being in our vicinity. Like, when we're with someone, we just want to be with them. We just want them to kind of like even if everyone's around us, we just want the two of us to feel that connection. We just want to kind of like have our own thing, you know, our own kind of like secret language, our own kind of like love language, our own flirting. And it's not going to be in a way where we're like making out and like doing the most and touching. It's going to be more like low key and like a bit like secretive, like whispering, you know. It's going to be kind of like that, you know what I'm saying? And then we'll be laughing at the people that are like doing the most, like the two Leos on the dance floor, like, you know, just all in each other's face and like all in each other's asses, and not we're not cool with that. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, we're more low key, and oh my gosh. Anyways, yeah. So it might look like we're not, you know, we're like prim and proper and all that, but we're really freaks. Like, we are total freaks. Like, some Capricorns, like when I heard about that movie Christian Grey, and I think he was a Capricorn. You know what I'm saying? The Christian Grey from, what's that? Shoot, oh, 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Grey. He is definitely a Capricorn. I think. I don't think he's a Scorpio, because you know, with the money and all that, that's a very kind of, Scorpios can be into status and money, but Capricorns are definitely as well. I mean, we're an earthly sign, right? So yeah. And yeah, so we can Capricorns can be into the BDSM, like the whole shebang, you know what I'm saying? And when they're like dressing up and stuff, they might, like, Capricorn women might wear like lingerie and like stilettos and all kinds of stuff. Like, it doesn't matter, like, whatever their partner wants, the Capricorn woman will wear it, you know what I'm saying? And the Capricorn men, I'm not sure what they wear, but they'll probably like wear some nice cologne. They'll probably like put on some candles and, you know, put roses on the bed and all kinds of stuff, like, for their partner. They might order like champagne, like, but this isn't like every day, you know. This is just like once in a while. But yeah, they can be, since we're a sea goat as well, you know, since Capricorn is a sea goat, we understand people's emotions. Just because we aren't very, you know, emotionally readily available or emotional in terms of like response, that doesn't mean that we don't understand emotion. We're just, we feel it. We just have a harder time kind of displaying it, I guess. We have a harder time being, you know, emo sometimes, being very emotional, but we understand emotions because we are a sea goat and we can go into the water. So we understand the flow. We understand how to, that's why, you know, water signs do sometimes work out well with Capricorns, because earth and water get along very well. Earth and earth do very well. So Capricorn and Taurus, Capricorn and Virgo. Capricorn and Capricorn can do well if they make time for each other, but earth and water can do well as well. So, but I find with Cancers, they can sometimes be a bit, personally for myself, Cancer people aren't really people that I look like for dating, and Pisces can be very like flighty. They can like come in, come back, you know. They're not like, they don't want to stay put, you know. They're not dedicated. They don't have time for dedication, and that's fine. I admire Pisces creativity. I admire their artistic and expression. I admire their spirituality, their thoughts and ideas. Like, I love so many things about Pisces, but in terms of like romance, I haven't personally for myself. I don't know how other Capricorns have found dating Pisces, but I find Pisces are too flighty. Sometimes they don't know what they want. They don't want to be tied down, and that's understandable. Like, but the thing is with them, they can be very. They're not really. They don't really want to get to know people or get to know the Capricorn. They don't want to take the time sometimes, or they're just. They can be, you know, in and out. So they're there one time and they're not there the next time. But I do love them, and I love so many things about Pisces. Like, I can go on and on about how amazing they are. I find them like so inspiring. Like, I find Pisces, like, I can talk about them for hours. But in terms of dating, you know, I personally haven't found them the best for me in terms of dating. Maybe some other Capricorns have found them good, but not myself. What's the other water sign? Oh yeah, Scorpio. Scorpio people are interesting. I think that Scorpios and Capricorns can get along well once their dark sides don't take over too much and overpower the relationship, because we have a dark side. Scorpio has a dark side, and we have to make sure we're stable and that dark side is stable before we get into a relationship with each other. Because if it's not, if we're both showing our dark side, if we're both being too dark around each other, it can be that can be like very dangerous. And but it can definitely work out. Like, Scorpio people have a lot of stamina, which is great because we have a lot of stamina as well. Like, that's the thing with Capricorns. Like, we can go on and on. Like, we have no end, and we want someone that's able to keep up with us. You know, if you can't keep up, if you can't last long and all this kind of stuff, like, don't even try. Like, why are you here? Like, why are you bothering? So yeah, like Scorpio people, you know, they're good for that. Scorpio people, they're interesting. They're creative as well, and I find them inspiring too, just like Pisces, but in a darker way. Like they have a lot of that, you know, dark, interesting energy to them. And they're very intelligent, very passionate, intelligent people. They are very intuitive. They can like read your mind. They like know what you're about. They can pick up on all the small details that no one else picks up on. And that's another thing I like about them. Now, just because, you know, they do this and they're, you know, they're passionate on that, they do have, if they're unevolved and if they're an unevolved Scorpio, they can be a bit negative. And I've had a lot of Scorpio friends since high school, so I'm not very like, it's not that I have a problem with them. It's just there have been a few instances where I've noticed Scorpios start drama with people. They kind of, they like start stuff with people that didn't do anything to them, like at all. Like if I understand, like if someone has done something to you, you will want to seek revenge and get back at them. That I definitely understand. But attacking people and talking about people, or, you know, giving like negative energy to people that didn't do anything to you, like just random people, that's what I don't understand. Like that's what I have a problem with, you know, with some Scorpios, like or whatever sign, you know, doesn't matter if it's Scorpio, like people that just have a problem, like, or just start shit right off the bat with like strangers on the street, like random people, start drama in a friend group. And like I don't understand, especially when people didn't do anything to you. I understand seeking revenge on people. I understand that dark side to Scorpio. If someone has done you wrong, you know, and a Scorpio, I like how a Scorpio is standing in their truth and it's like, I'm not going to take any bullshit from anyone. I like that about Scorpios, how they're like, I'm not going to take shit from no one. I'm going to stand in my truth. I'm going to get my revenge. I'm not going to wait for the people in the afterlife to serve it. I'm going to serve it myself. I like how they're, you know, they stand to their truth. They don't care, you know, if it comes across as like being too harsh and too like vengeful and all that. Like, good for them, you know, good for them for sticking up for themselves and like defending themselves and teaching the person a lesson, because we do that too, Capricorns. We might not do it in a very vengeful way, but we will teach people lessons. We will teach them mentally. We will do that mental work with them to make sure they learn that lesson. Especially if they really did something bad to us, we will make them learn the lesson. It doesn't matter how harsh, how hard it is, we will make them. And it depends on like how bad, you know, they treated us and all this kind of stuff, but we'll make sure they learn that lesson. Yeah, so Scorpios and Capricorns can definitely work. They have a lot of, like out of all the water signs, Scorpio is probably the one, but you know, Taurus is still, I'd say, like Taurus and Virgo and Capricorn, since those are like all the earth signs, those can definitely work out sometimes better. Or if someone has a lot of earth in their chart, that can work out better. You know, their sun sign might be like a fire sign, like it might be Sagittarius, but they might have a lot of earth in their chart, so it, like the Capricorn is able to get along with them because they have earth. But yeah, like Scorpios and Capricorns can definitely have a really good relationship. It's just like they have to make sure that they aren't being too consumed by their dark sides, their darker natures, to the point where they throw each other off balance and, you know, cause disruptions and all that. But the good thing with Scorpios is they're also into the classics. Some Scorpios, not all, some are very modern and all this, but some Scorpios are into the classics. They're into things like, you know, like what I'm wearing, you know, they're into like romantic stuff. They're very passionate, they're very artistic, some Scorpios are very business minded. They have that drive and stamina that Capricorns have as well. But even though I'm saying that, we're still very different. We're still very different signs, you know, because Scorpios have a lot of emotion sometimes, and that Capricorn has to learn how to deal with that because, you know, we're not very emotionally responsive people, unfortunately. I have water in my chart, more water in my chart. I have a Cancer moon and all that, so I can like understand emotions, and you know, I'm receptive to people's emotions, but not all Capricorns are like me. Like some Capricorns have a lot of earth in their chart. Like my Mars is also in Capricorn. I have Capricorn in other parts of my chart too, so I could definitely be more emotional, but I think sometimes because of the Saturn, it kind of it restricts me in certain ways. Sometimes I feel like that. Like how I comfort people. Sometimes it comes across as like it's more of like a parent's kind of like how I talk. Sometimes it's like a parent, you know, like but like a father, not like the mother, like the nurturer. It's more like the father, like giving advice and stuff to overcome tough situations, giving solid, stable advice. Like, and I need to work on my emotional receptiveness. And it requires a lot of healing and a lot of like work on myself, but that's who I am. I can't really like, you know, it's hard for me, but it's really good for her. But you know, I'm happy for her, you know, good for her. Scorpio people, you know, they're great lovers and they're very passionate. But I want to move on to the earth signs, so like Taurus and Virgo and Capricorn. So Capricorn and Taurus people, like Taurus people are very earthly. They can be very passionate. Taurus people also, if you think Scorpio has a lot of stamina, Taurus people have a lot of stamina as well. And they can be very like assertive and confident. And Taurus people are very like, they like nice things. They like nice food, nice places, nice scenery. So that can be a plus for a Capricorn. Taurus people are very accommodating. They're very like comfy and like cozy, like warm spirited. They're one of them, as opposed to like Virgo and Capricorn. We can be a bit cold sometimes, but Taurus is like the warm earthly sign. Like they have a lot of like warm energy to them, even though they're an earthly sign. I find them very like comforting. They're very, I don't know how to describe it. They're very like, they're nice. They're like, they have a nice energy to them, nice vibes to them if they're a healthy Taurus. And yeah, they like nice food. They know, sometimes they like know what you like, you know, especially as an earth sign. Like they don't have to even like ask like, hey, do you wanna, they automatically kind of know what I like, and they get along well with Capricorns. Like we can just like, we might start off as friends. Like a lot of Tauruses I know, you know, we've been friends, and I like to keep things as friends, you know, but some Taurus people, like they wanted to date me and have a relationship with me, but I wasn't really into them like that. I just wanted to be friends with them, and I really like their energy. It's really pleasant and positive. Because sometimes as Capricorns we can be a bit dark, we can be a bit moody sometimes, and I like how Taurus people are usually very they're chill and they're optimistic and they're positive. They think positive things, positive thoughts. They have a lot of self-motivation and drive. And some people say, oh, well, Taurus people are stubborn, or they have that. They can be stubborn and set in their ways, like fixed, like set in their ways. But if the Capricorn is understanding, and if it's set in a way where it's not destructive to them, like a destructive habit, like that should be okay. Like a Capricorn should be understanding of that once it's not like, you know. In terms of like flirting, Taurus people, you know, like I said, they're a bit romantic as well. They'll take you to nice places and nice restaurants and all that. They'll be very charming with whoever they like. They'll compliment them. They will they will accommodate for them. They'll, you know, see about them. And I find them also mature and responsible in terms of how they carry themselves. And in the bedroom, you know, they're very they're quite confident, and they know how, they have a lot of stamina. They know like how to kind of make sure the atmosphere is nice, like in the bedroom and all that. So yeah, so Virgo people, you'll never know, like if they like you like that. Like sometimes you'll never know, like if they have a crush on you and all that. It can take them a while to open up as well. Virgos are very intelligent, like sexy, like intelligent, like they can be like nerdy, you know, the glasses, but like the hot nerd, you know, the hot nerdy girl, the hot nerdy guy, you know, and they'll really woo Capricorns with their kind of intellect and their mind and all that, because they're very stimulating, like in terms of conversation. So that's really nice for Capricorn as well. Virgo people are sometimes a bit detached like us, so that can be a good thing, you know, since we don't really like to get into emotions and all that. That can be a good thing, you know. Virgos state the cold hard facts, like they'll be honest with you sometimes, and they'll be very like direct and in terms of language and all that. And in terms of like flirting, they can flirt like their minds, like I don't know how to describe it, but they're very like people, so they'll like observe things about you and they'll kind of like point it out, like nice things, you know, the positive things, not the negatives, unless the Virgo wants to be really nitpicky and like you have, you know, but like oh blah blah blah. But Virgo people, like they'll be like, you know, they'll be kind of like sweet but sweet and then dark, you know, at the same time. They'll be like say something nice and they'll say something dark, and you'll be like, oh, like, because some Virgos, like they come across as very straight-laced, they come across as very reserved, and like I think, who is it again? Keanu Reeves is a Virgo, and, you know, he's very like, you know, he's very sweet and like friendly and all that, and has a cool edge to him and all this. But Virgo people they're interesting, and like I haven't had a relationship with them, but I think they're a good match for Capricorn as well, because, you know, they're very, one thing about Virgos I find is they're very loyal, very, very loyal. So if you're meeting up with a Virgo at a specific time, they will be there, you know, they don't let you down. Like, you know, maybe a Pisces will be like, hey, like, sorry, something came up, bye. Or a Gemini, like, oh my god, girl, I'm so sorry, but something, like, I have to go to my brother's birthday, blah, 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 you know. I love you though, bye. Virgo will be there. Virgos are dedicated. Virgos are loyal. They are reliable people, and that's what Capricorns love. We love reliable people. Taurus are reliable. Capricorn and Capricorn might not be reliable because we're so, you know, bent on time, and we like are trying to do too much. But Taurus and Virgo people are definitely reliable. They will be there, you know. And okay, so Capricorn and Capricorn can definitely work out. We just need to make time for each other. We need to kind of stop treating things as a business arrangement, because that can sometimes be what happens. Like when a Capricorn and Capricorn meet with each other, they just talk about accomplishments, what each person is doing, you know, dry stuff that doesn't build any romance. Like all that dry stuff, leave that for your business meetings. Leave that, you know, at the company or organization that you're Capricorn. You need to build more sensual energy and all that, you know what I'm saying? You need to build the attraction, build the more sensual, caring, nurturing energy between you. You can't treat everything like a boardroom meeting, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, bring in some water energy into that kind of water and air. Bring that into your conversation, you know, emanate that and be more sensual, be more caring with each other and all that. Yeah, and also it can definitely work out, you know, for some time. But I think, you know, in terms of like Capricorn and Capricorn relationships, I think Beyonce's parents, Matthew and Tina, I think they were both Capricorns. So that should tell you, you know, if you know anything about that family and how Beyonce's parents kind of interacted with each other, and how Matthew Knowles was kind of like set up their relationship to have certain children with like lighter skin or something. He wanted like a light skinned wife and all that, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like, you know, when he was dating Tina, when he married her and all that, it was like, it was for love, but it was also for business. It was also like with an agenda, and that's something you have to watch, you know, when you're dating Capricorn, like what are they trying to do, like what's their agenda and all that, because you know every sign will have an agenda, like everyone in the dating game, in relationships, has like agendas and what they want to do, but make sure that it aligns with what you want at the same time, or it gels well with what you want, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not saying that Matthew and Tina Knowles' relationship was bad. Like, I think it worked out. I don't know if they're still together. I think they got divorced. I'm not sure, but it worked out for the time being. It's just that, you know, it's an example of Capricorn and Capricorn kind of being too much in the, like when they're dating, ends up being too much in the business, because they were Beyonce's managers and Destiny's Child. They were the managers and stuff of that girl group. So Capricorns, you need to be aware of that. Like if you're in a relationship with each other, if you're doing well and you think that it's fine to do the whole business thing, that's okay, I guess. Like it can be okay, it can work out. But if you want something more romantic, you know, definitely take a look into the other signs like Taurus, Virgo, Scorpio, you know, signs like that. Maybe Pisces, you know, because Pisces are a bit romantic. Yeah. Anyways, I think I covered a lot in this video. If you'd like to check out more of my content, feel free to do so. My subliminal channel is Dark Rose Subliminals, and I just post like a lot of subliminals on there, and spells and manifesting techniques, law of attraction techniques and strategies and all that. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is blackxsrose. That is blackxsrose. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.